Hey guys, welcome to our How to Handyman series. In this video, we're going to go through what people think is maybe the hardest thing in setting up a business, and that's finding customers. Hey guys, welcome back. So in this video we're going to go through in a bit more detail how you can use marketing to get customers coming through to your business. You know, people use marketing as a really difficult term, or it gets a lot of bad press, but it's really not that difficult. You just need to take some basic steps to get customers knocking on your door. I know we've done another video on how to give your company credibility, and you'll probably find a link for that somewhere up there and in the description below. And in that video we started to talk about things like putting in place a website, putting in place some of your social media channels, things like Facebook. Why would you use things like Facebook? Well, things like Facebook is where your customers are. So how you get customers to come to you is you start to go to the place where your customers frequent. So I think of it along these lines. I sort of think, well, firstly, who is your customer? So you need to identify for your business who your customer actually is and where they're likely to be. So, and again, different for different businesses. For my business, my customer is for the handyman business is generally perhaps female in the age of about 35 to about 65. Why do I say that? Well, interestingly, in our area, there's a lot of single mums out there that are looking for a handyman or someone to do some work for them. There's a lot of wives out there who husbands don't necessarily know what they're doing, and so I get called in. Sometimes they get threatened that they're going to call me in if they don't do a job, or I get brought in to do a job for them. So, and also we find that within the family dynamic, it's usually the ladies, the wives, the girlfriends that actually make the decisions when it comes to what's happening around the home. So for my handyman business, that's a pretty good view of who my main customer is, so that when I'm doing marketing and target marketing later, that's the group that I'll start to look towards. My YouTube channel's different. My YouTube channel's customer is slightly different because it's more about people who are wanting to do things themselves. So the demographic tends to be a little bit younger, a little bit more active in the way that they're going. For this particular type of video, the demographic and the customer may be a little bit older. It's people looking for a career change. It's people looking for something a bit different and needing some advice on how to set a business up. So different, as you can see, they're different customers for the different things that I'm doing. What you need to be doing for your business is figuring out who your customer is. Once you know who your customer is, you can then start to look at where do they go. So if I'm looking at my my handyman business, well, where are they going? Where is my customer going to go? They're going to be going to places like tile shops. They're going to be going to post offices. They're going to be using other tradies in the area, plumbers, electricians, those sorts of people. They're going to be on Facebook. They're going to be on buy, swap and sell groups. They're going to be on the social groups in the area, the local notice boards. Once I understand that, where they're frequenting, then that's where my marketing comes in. So places like our hardware shops, our tile shops, post offices, those sorts of places are the places that I go and give business cards to. So I put business cards, go and talk to those people, introduce myself to them, and go and give them business cards that they can put into their office. So when people start to ask them who's the local handyman in the area, then they can give my business card out. And it helps, it also becomes a two-way street as well, because if I'm asked, who's a good electrician or who's a good plumber in the area, then I can make recommendations too. So start to build some of those, I suppose, what I call your larger networks of people in the area that are always looking to help you out, and you can help them out as well. So does that make sense? Hopefully it does. By far though, for my business, the biggest source of customers is Facebook and social media. So that's why it became so important for me to put together a Facebook page that has all of my jobs on it. And if you go and visit my Bass Valley Handyman Facebook page, you'll see all of the work that I've done. That does a couple of things. If people start to see that page being promoted and see that page around, they can start to see what it is, the type of work that I do, and that starts to prompt ideas for them, and it prompts customers to call me. So, putting that page together, take photos of all the work you've done. And I mean all the work, good and bad. Put it all there with the story of how you went through the job, whether it went well, whether it didn't go well, what the customers thought. Put those all online, and that will actually help from a marketing perspective. Again, gives your business legitimacy, gives people a comfort that you actually know what it is that you're actually doing. And then once your Facebook page is actually there, then things like posting regularly, making sure that every week there's something new going up, something fresh, so it stays in people's faces. So once I had my Facebook page in place, the next step that I actually took, and this actually took a period of a few months, and that was to actually build a following. So if you look on my Facebook page now, I've probably got 500 to 600 followers. So all I did for the first few months was to start to post pictures of work that I'd done to the local notice boards, to the local, if you're allowed, and sometimes you are, to the local buy, swap and sell groups, to the business pages, and really made sure that every couple of days I was posting something new to each of those groups. So I probably had 20 different groups in my local area, buy, swap and sells, notice boards for each of the towns, all those sorts of places, and I just posted information on what I was doing to each of those groups, really just on a weekly basis. And as I did that, people started to get to know my name, and then they started to call me. Once I'd also got my followers up, I actually did a little bit of Facebook advertising. Not a lot, probably only about $20 a month, but I focused in on my target audience, and then I promoted that page to that group of people. I'll do another video on that further down the track on how to actually use some advertising. But I know that $20 of advertising brings me X amount of revenue. So it was actually a very profitable way for me to build my customers up very quickly. But really in the first instance, what I was doing is looking to build that following, that fan base, you might call it, that group of people who are actually following me. Because once I had them in place, once I've got 500 or 600 followers, that's a group of customers. And that's potential customers, and that group of customers keeps me well and truly employed. The phone's always ringing. So focus on building followers in the first instance. Once you've got followers, then down the track you can start to use other strategies to market to those customers. But getting that fan base in place is really quite important in the early days. I also did other things such as advertising for the little local rags or the local papers, local newsletters. I did some advertising in there as well. Didn't spend a lot, probably only $30 or $40 a month. But each time I put an advertisement in, it paid for itself. So it's just keeping going with some of those sorts of things, and realizing that if you spend money on advertising, just monitor what you spend, what you actually get back, and you'll soon start to find out which advertising mediums work better for you. Probably one of the most important things of all though, is that if a customer rings you, ring them back. Talk to them. A lot of my customers come to me through social media, as I say, they'll message me. I just make sure I message them right back, because that not only It gives them confidence that you actually know what you're doing. But the majority of tradies out there don't actually ring back. So yeah, if you can build yourself a reputation as somebody who's responsive and will take the time to actually talk to the customer, you're really going to build yourself a good reputation very quickly. And once you start to do that, then the word spreads, word of mouth spreads as well, and it just gets easier as time goes on. I also make sure I go out on site whenever a customer rings me. It's not always possible, and sometimes it takes a bit of time to organise, but I always try to get out on site with a customer, because you start to meet the customers, you get an idea of what they're after, and often when you go and meet with them, you actually find not only that job, but they'll have a friend who needs something done, a friend of a friend who needs something done. So as you're going out and meeting people, meeting the customers, you're not just meeting them, remember, you're meeting their entire family. Because if you can do a good job for them, then they're likely to recommend you as well. So again, it's just another way of getting your name out there. I mentioned before things like tile shops and hardware shops. If you've got a particular speciality, and I do a lot of tiling, then I've been out to the local tile shops and just spent the time to go and talk to their trade manager. Just go and have a chat to him, him or her, and so that you're known. Because now, the local tile shops in the area, I'm now on their preferred supplier list. There's probably only about half a dozen tilers that they'll recommend in the area. I'm one of them. So if anybody asks them about some tiling, I get a phone call. So just by building those relationships, building those friendships with those sorts of places, and it doesn't have to be anything serious, just go and say hello and just introduce who you are, give them a card, and pop in from time to time just to go and say hi. You build those relationships up so that if somebody asks them who's good for tiling, who's good for this particular type of job, then they're likely to recommend you as well. So it's all about building that brand or building those relationships where people start to recommend you. It's also worth just being on the like the local notice boards as well. I do find Facebook notice boards are fantastic because people will ask for a handyman. Almost on an every day I see posts for people looking for a handyman to go and do a fence, or to go and paint a wall, or go and do something. And if you're quick and responsive and go and talking to those customers pretty quickly to say yes, you can help, even if you just respond, you're probably going to beat 99% of the other handymen in the area, and that will put you in a good position to get some more work. So I hope those ideas give you some food for thought. Try out a few things. Don't be scared to try things is another thing I would say. And just give it a go. And good luck, because I know you can do it. Anyway, as always, if you like what you see, please like and subscribe to the channel. Share the video if you can, and I'll leave some info in the description box below as where I can. And if you've got any comments, leave them in the comments section below. If there's anything you'd like to know, again, I always read the comments, so ask a question, not a problem. I'm more than happy to respond if I can. Anyway, good luck with it, and I'll see you on the next video. See ya.